Should you invest? Should you do business with Morris Invest? That's today's video, and that's coming up next. All right, so today's video is should you do business with Morris Invest? I'll talk a little bit about an article that I read about them. They have some lawsuits pending and my personal experience with Morris Invest. And then I'll give my personal opinion on whether you should do business with Morris Invest. I'm going to briefly go over what I read in the article. I'm going to encourage you to read it in full. It's a pretty long article. I'm going to keep the link. I'm going to put the link down below. So let me start with what Morris Invest does, basically. So basically they have a YouTube channel. They give good advice for the most part, and they seem to be honest people. They're pretty popular on YouTube. They just kind of give everyday folks like me and you advice on how to start your real estate journey, renting out properties and things like that. So what they do is they like to sell properties, I would say in the 40K, 50K range, and maybe a little bit higher depending on the market that you're interested in. But they sell the properties, they renovate it for you. If you agree, they'll get a tenant in there through a second company called Ocean Point. They're the property management company, and that's it. So the attraction is that you simply buy a property, they take care of the rest, and they'll put a tenant in there, and then you'll just get your rental checks every month. So it's an attractive offer. So that's part of the reason why I think they're pretty popular. So that's what they base their business model on. The problem came when some investors bought some properties that never ended up being renovated, or they ended up being vacant for long periods of time. There's even some cases where investors bought properties it ended up being a vacant lot, or it was burnt down a few days before and there's no house there anymore, and Morris Invest promised them, or they claimed that Morris Invest promised to build a home on that vacant lot, and they just never followed through. So that's basically, there's like 5 lawsuits pending against them, and those are all allegations, and those are the claims that's being made by investors. Before I read this article, I already had an idea of why Morris Invest was being sued. I was reading reviews, I was watching YouTube reviews. There's reviews on YouTube, there's reviews on all over the web about Morris Invest, good and bad. But I wanted to see the bad. I wanted to see how they handled investors that weren't happy, how they handled their customers. That's what I would personally look for before deciding to do business. So I did a lot of research, and there is a lot of information on them out there, and investors sharing their experience. So I wanted to hear, more than anything, what would be their response to these allegations. What they're saying is that they're not responsible because they are simply the middlemen. They're simply, their job is to simply market and bring investors to another company called Ocean Point. Ocean Point is responsible for the renovations and for the property management. That Morris Invest has nothing to do with any of that. I was not happy with that response because I think that they're trying to, they're not taking responsibility for any of this that's going on. There's people that lost and are losing a lot of money because they trusted Morris Invest and their advice, and they expected Morris Invest to follow through on their promises. When I watched their videos, and I'm sure when you all have watched their videos, I've never heard them mention this other company. They've never, in the videos that I have watched, and I'm sure I haven't watched every video. They do podcasts apparently. I have not listened to their podcast. So I cannot say 100%, and I know they claim that they have mentioned this in many videos and many podcasts, that they're simply the middleman. However, that's sort of a big deal. If anything, that should be mentioned in every video, or mentioned more often, where someone like me, who kind of watches their video pretty regularly, would know 100% that if I were to buy a property, go through your company for a property, that I knew 100% that I would be dealing with another company and not Morris Invest. And that is not the impression that they leave on their videos. So that's also what the investors who are suing Morris Invest, they also agree that Morris Invest kind of misrepresented their role in this whole process. So Morris Invest claims they're not responsible for anything. Ocean Point is responsible. Um, I don't quite agree with that, but that is their defense. The other thing is the owner of Ocean Point has a history record. He's somebody that if you research, I encourage you to read the article. I don't quite remember his name, but read the article. They mention his name and just do some research. He doesn't have exactly a squeaky clean record as far as doing business. That alone, I think Morris Invest should take responsibility for partnering with a company, with a person that has a history of bad business. You know, that's just my personal opinion. So yeah, so I was a little disappointed to see that Morris Invest kind of just kind of taking a step back and saying we have nothing to do with that. Another thing that bothered me on in this article is that Morrison or Clayton Morris said that he understands what these investors are going through, that he feels for them, that he understands and he sympathizes, that he understands what they're going through. He understands that they're losing a lot of money because he himself has gone through it, and he himself has been wronged by Ocean Point, by this company that they decided to partner with. And my problem with that is, if you've been having issues yourself with this company, why continue to do business with them? Why choose them in the first place? One thing I will say, back in May of 2018, May or March of 2018, basically about a year ago, Morris Invest did sever ties with this company, so they no longer do business with this company, and I think that's commendable. I'm glad that they obviously decided to no longer do business with them. But my question is, could that have been done sooner? Could they have minimized the damage? Could they have been a little bit more transparent in their videos? A little bit about my experience with Morris Invest. I was watching their videos, and of course, it caught my attention. You know, I love buying rental properties. I want to continue to buy rental properties. I love the passive income from it. That's all stuff for another video. But I booked a call with them. They identified themselves as Morris Invest, not Ocean Point. At no point during this phone call did they mention this other company called Ocean Point. I will say this: I was aware that the property management was being taken care of, or was put on a different company. That I was pretty clear about. I don't know from where I got that information, but I just wanted to throw that in there. But never in my mind did I think I was buying a property from someone else. So overall, the call went well. They were kind of, I felt like they were kind of rushing me to make a decision. They sent me some properties in Jacksonville, Florida. If I recall, they were ranging in between $40,000 and $50,000, just kind of up and down. And there were other states in there, but I don't recall what states they were. I just remembered specifically Jacksonville, Florida, because I was looking specifically at one home in Jacksonville, Florida, that I did like. What I ended up telling them is, hey, you know, I'm gonna take a closer look, and I'll give you a call back. And within the next couple of days, during those couple of days, I just did a bunch of research, and the negative reviews kind of deterred me from moving forward. That is pretty much my experience with Morris Invest. With all that information, I think personally that's enough for me to decide that I will never, well, never say never, but at this point I would not do business with Morris Invest. I think they handled this situation poorly. I just think that Morris Invest should take responsibility. This is actually my second time recording this video. I did make another video talking about the same things, but as I was editing that video, I came across another video where Morris Invest, they address these lawsuits and these allegations, and they kind of respond to the questions that all their followers are having. and I decided to re-record this video to include their response. I would include that link down below to their response. However, they have it right now unlisted on YouTube. I'm not sure why they wouldn't make it public, but they do have it. It's available. If you want to find it, you kind of gonna have to dig a little bit in the comment section of one of their more recent videos, and they kind of insert the link there, and that's how I found it. So I don't want to post it. I'm not sure, you know, if they want it to be private or public. That's not for me to decide, but here's what the video pretty much said. They kind of